So I've got a secret that I've been holding on to now for, gosh, it's been a couple of months, and I didn't want to tell you guys about it because I wasn't even 100% sure of it myself. I'm not even sure of it myself right now. So how do I talk about this? Release for quacking! Morning, guys. How's everybody doing? What do we got planned? As you guys might know, we have a small duck egg operation here on our farm. We have 14 female ducks here. They are just about starting to hit kind of real laying speed. Let me just check to see if they hit any in their secret spot here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we got one more. 8. We brought them onto the farm last summer. We've been raising them. We culled a lot of the males for meat. We kept all the females for eggs. And that had always been my plan because the price that I can charge for eggs around here, which is, you know, about $5 for a half dozen, far exceeds the price I could charge for chicken eggs, which is about $4 for a whole dozen. So that was the main reason we got these ducks and why we started raising ducks for eggs. The other reason was, you know, Allison and I love eating eggs. We felt like eggs would be a good staple for our diet, and so it would be great to be able to get farm fresh eggs in our daily meals. And so having these layers would let us both sell some of them and then eat some of them. But the problem with that hypothesis is I think I might be allergic to duck eggs. I know. Take a minute, just laugh about it, chuckle. It is kind of funny and somewhat ironic.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
A duck farmer who is allergic to duck eggs. I've, over the last couple of months, been experiencing something which is leading me to hold that belief. So let me tell you the story. When we got our first duck egg, I actually did an experiment to try to get our girls to start laying by feeding them cat food. And that experiment totally worked. After only a few days of feeding the ducks cat food, a couple of the ducks started laying eggs, which is awesome. I started then eating those eggs. And what I noticed is the first 2 times that I ate those eggs, I got really sick. And I wasn't exactly sure why. I didn't know if it was because I was getting food poisoning from something else, because all the symptoms were like food poisoning, you know. On a given day, I'll eat all sorts of things from different places, and so I wasn't quite sure what was causing it. But after the second time it happened, I really was like, maybe it's the duck eggs? That seems crazy, but maybe it's the duck eggs. I had eaten duck eggs before and hadn't had a problem, so I wasn't quite sure why this would be an issue. About a month ago, I decided, let's give these duck eggs a shot again. We were starting to get more and more, like about 3 or 4 a day, and as long as I could catch them before they froze, we were starting to actually be flush with duck eggs. So I gave it a shot. I you know, ate a duck egg, but then I actually used it and I made it into pancakes. So they were duck egg pancakes. And so I ate that and I got sick again.
Get away from me!
For about 8 or 9 hours, just like I had food poisoning, completely sick. That's where I started to develop this theory that yes, I am personally allergic to duck eggs. So I am very much in the camp right now thinking that I have an allergy to duck eggs. But I'm not 100%. I feel like duck eggs are such an important part of my life right now, and we are producing so many gosh darn duck eggs. I can't just go on a hunch that I'm allergic to duck eggs. I need to be 100%. I need to be completely positive that these things are no good for me to eat. And so that's why today I'm gonna do an experiment. I have not eaten in about 18 hours, so I've pretty much completely cleared out my system. The only thing I've had has been water. And I'm gonna take a couple of these eggs this morning and I'm gonna eat them. And I'm gonna go see if I am actually a duck farmer who is allergic to duck eggs. I get sick this morning, I want to know that it was the duck eggs that made me sick. And so that's why I'm not making an omelet, I'm not making pancakes. I'm just taking 2 fresh duck eggs that were laid within the past hour, scramble them in a bowl, and then cook them in just a little bit of olive oil inside a cast iron pan. I think by doing that, I should remove all doubt about whether or not I'm allergic to duck eggs. If I get sick, I'm allergic. If I don't get sick, I'm not allergic. I'm gonna overcook these eggs too because I do not want to leave anything to chance. Well, here goes nothing. So I guess there's nothing left to do now but wait. I think the reason this whole situation is tough for me is because as a farmer, I feel like it's very important to stand behind your product. And if I'm gonna be a farmer, what sort of farmer is allergic to their own product? I mean, will people really trust a farmer who won't eat his own food? I guess, you know, when it comes down to it, that's what makes this whole situation really tough for me personally. All right. So I've been dealing with some raccoons who have been getting into our compost. This right here is our bucket full of compost. You know, in the winter time, we can't really use our compost bin. And so instead, what I do is I keep it in this bucket, and then every couple of weeks or so, I will go walk it out into the back of the woods. Overall, it's a pretty effective system, but over the last week or two, I've had somebody, I think a raccoon, breaking into it. I used to hang the bucket against this wall, like I would do it like right on one of these nails. But the other night, somebody came, knocked it down, and dragged the bucket all the way over to here. You can even see some of the little remnants, mess eggshells over here by our old outhouse. So now I'm trying to suspend it like you would do with a bear and when you're camping on this string here to see if they can't get to it. The other thing I did last night was I set up this have-a-heart trap. See it right here? So I set this trap up and I had it like right about here. And I'd put some old chicken bones and eggshells in there as the bait. But somebody clearly sprung the trap and dragged the trap from about here all the way over to here. And then they kind of scampered off and made off with whatever they had. Because if you look inside the trap right now, like all the bait is gone. So they got to whatever they were getting at. Which to me is like crazy. Like what kind of raccoon would do that? But lucky for you guys, I was also running my trail camera. And so I have the footage. Now let's go take a look at it. This gives me something to do, I guess, while I wait for my eggs to kick in or not kick in. So it's been about an hour right now and I'm feeling completely fine. So that's the good news. But usually I've found it takes about 3 or 4 hours before it kicks in. Let's go check out the footage. All right, it's 9:27 a.m. and it's been a few hours now. I guess I'm feeling a little bit queasy in my stomach right now. I don't know if that's from the duck eggs or if I've just completely psyched myself out and it's all in my head. But either way, I'm not feeling great, so it's either in my stomach or in my head. And by the way, I took a look at that trail camera footage. Didn't even pick up anything. So I don't know what did that in the barn last night, but I'm gonna have to deal with that too. It's now an hour later and I'm definitely thinking I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling pretty queasy in my stomach. I'm having a general feeling of just unwellness. I really didn't want this to be the case. I really was hoping that I would be able to eat these duck eggs and I would find that come, say, noon or 1 o'clock, I was totally fine. I'd be able to have lunch and have a normal day.
and instead I think I'm gonna be sick. What really bothers me is that the animals that I'm raising and the food that they're producing is gonna make me sick. And that just is what it is. Ugh. Irony can be so ironic sometimes.
So I just spent the last couple of hours quite literally spilling the contents of my guts in the bathroom. I'm not feeling really good, but I'm on the mend. It's getting better. I feel like I'll be fine by the time I have to go to bed tonight. So there's no question about it now at this point. I am absolutely allergic to ducks. It's more like a lactose intolerance than like a peanut allergy, if you're thinking about it. But regardless of that, the end result is the same. I should not be eating duck eggs, and I won't be eating any duck eggs. And so while I love having these guys, and I think they're a great animal to raise here on our farm and homestead, I just won't be consuming their egg products. You gotta admit, it's somewhat remarkable, right? Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering and saying, hey Morgan, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna keep the ducks? Are you gonna get rid of them? Like, what's your plan? You're allergic to these things, you can't eat these things. In peak periods, they're gonna be producing, 12 to 14 eggs a day. That's gonna be quite a lot. I'm gonna have to be selling them. But it's okay, and I'm fine with having them here. And the reasons that I'm fine with having them here are this. Number one, as an animal, I really enjoy taking care of ducks. I find that they're just a lot of fun to work with. I've learned a lot about taking care of them, and so there's no way I'm moving off of them because of that. Number two, I think that they're really good for the land. I think they're very good for our orchard. I think they're great for insect control. I enjoy having them spread their manure all over the place, and so from that perspective, I'm happy to own ducks. And then number three, there's still a lot of people out there who like ducks and duck eggs. I'm gonna sell my product to those people. I've often said that the difference between a homesteader and a farmer is that the homesteader raises food and grows animals for their own personal consumption, while the farmer is focused on raising and selling animals and food products for their community. I'm focused on being a farmer. And that means I'm raising these ducks and the duck eggs that they produce for the people in my community. So really, when it comes down to it, there's no need for me to change my plans. Despite the challenge, and despite the fact that I cannot eat the duck eggs that these ducks produce, I'm happy to be a duck farmer who is allergic to duck eggs.